$800,000 a year of tax-free income. In this episode, I'm going to tell you a story about a couple that went from the highest tax bracket to a 0% tax bracket in 5 years. Get ready. This is going to blow you away. In fact, I'm going to tell you 2 stories, so put on your seatbelt. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for nearly 5 decades, helping many, many people save a ton of unnecessary tax. Or I've helped many people redirect otherwise payable tax to causes they support. And it actually helps out this great country of America far better because they will never be dependent on government. Whereas many Americans following the herd, putting money into tax-deferred IRAs and 401ks, are going to end up outliving their money, and they will be sort of a drain on society and the government. So when you understand economics and taxation and why the government allows certain financial vehicles to be tax-deferred or even tax-free, you'll understand why this is so powerful. Now, if you've watched very many of my educational episodes on this channel, I'm very passionate about helping people save for long-term goals such as retirement. And I want them to do it the best way because I have a little ditty that goes good, better, best. Never let it rest, and never let it rest till good gets better and better gets best, okay? So IRAs and 401ks may be a good way to go, but they are a far cry from the best way to go. A Roth IRA or 401k is a better way to go. But I've never owned an IRA or 401k, never will. I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k, and I never will, because I would prefer the best way. And it is a Max Funded Indexed Universal Life Insurance contract, or contracts, because you can diversify with these. And many people own several of these. We have one client that has, I think, 16 or 17 of these now. And so you diversify into superior vehicles that allow you to accumulate your money totally tax-free, not just tax-deferred. And then you can generate tax-free income at payouts of 8 to 10% typically without depleting the principal, even if you live to be 120 years old, which means if you had $1 million nest egg, that could generate $80,000 a year to $100,000 a year of tax-free income from age 65 to age 120, and you'll still have your $1 million nest egg, okay? And so we help many people do this by using a properly structured maximum funded indexed universal life insurance contract, where I've actually averaged 9.62% rate of return since 1980, okay? So I'm going to try to keep this episode simple, and I'm going to tell you 2 stories of how a LASERFund helped these 2 couples to be able to far outperform where their money had been accumulated before they met me in traditional IRAs and 401ks. So the first story I want to share with you are 2 physicians. And this husband and wife, they were both doctors. One was a pediatrician and one was a orthopedic surgeon. And they worked so hard and accumulated money into qualified plans like IRAs and 401ks or the like. And at retirement, they had accumulated $4.6 million between the 2 of them in these yet-to-be taxed accounts. And they came to one of my educational seminars and realized, oh my heck, we have painted ourselves into a corner, a tax trap. And of course, that's what I teach people in our educational sessions on how to free themselves from the tax trap that they've gotten themselves into by sort of following the herd, putting money in tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks. They realized they were never going to be in a lower tax bracket. They also agreed with us that taxes in the future would likely be higher. Because whenever I ask Americans, how many of you think that taxes in America in the future will likely be lower, I get nothing but crickets. How many think they're going to be the same? 1 or 2 hands go up. But when I ask, how many of you think taxes will likely be higher in the future? And a sea of hands goes up Because of what? Irresponsible government spending and the printing of money. So why are we deferring tax in traditional accounts like IRAs and 401ks to some future perceived unknown advantage to withdraw our money down the road when we all agree taxes will likely be higher? Well, people get there and now they have to deal with this. So here they were with 4.6 million in yet to be taxed IRAs or 401ks. And sure enough, their advisor told them, well, now you have to continue to defer until you are age 72 and take out RMDs, required minimum distributions, because they really didn't need the money. They had other resources and investments. And so what do most advisors tell people? Oh, well then defer, take out the required minimum distribution starting at age 72 and string it out during your life expectancy, your spouse's life expectancy, and then pass it down to your kids. Well, your kids have to now get taxed on that inherited IRA or 401k within 10 years. So I developed some software years ago that illustrates that advice and why it's fallacious. And sure enough, they were shocked when they saw that by deferring and taking out RMDs throughout their life expectancies and transferring it down to their children, they had 3 children, that they weren't saving tax. They were going to pay through the nose. In fact, at a minimum, following the advice of their accountant, even by the end of their lifetimes, they would pay $2.6 million in tax on the $4.6 million by continuing to defer. And, it's the best savings bond the government ever came up with for themselves. And that's why they tell you to do it. Because why would they want to kill a partnership where they get a piece of everything you will continue to earn on those tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks the rest of your life? And so the funny thing is, when I showed them they were going to pay about $2.6 million in tax at a minimum by the time they both checked out their life expectancies, their accountant, their advisor, said this: well, they can afford to pay $2.6 million of tax. They have the money. And I said, well, let's ask them. And I looked at both of them and I said, listen, if I could show you how to save 1.2 million, I can't save the full 2.6 million. You just made too much money. You saved too much. But if you could save 1.2 million of unnecessary tax, would you like to do that? And they went, duh, yes. And so I said, here we go. So we did a strategic rollout and we got the money out over a 5-year period, and the tax is over and done with sooner than later. And yes, we had to pay tax, but not 2.6 million. We saved them 1.2 million of that. They did have to pay, 1.4 million, but I saved them 1.2 million of unnecessary tax. What did we do with that? We were able to take that tax savings and put it into what I call a family bank. Now, I'm going to gift you one of my best-selling books at the end of this. You'll understand what a family bank is, but this is where they were to take that otherwise payable tax, put it in their family bank, and that's been generating $100,000 a year in their portfolio of IUL policies, LASERfunds, $100,000 a year of tax-free cash flow without depleting the 1.2 million, which is providing college funding, scholarships, what have you, for their children, grandchildren into perpetuity, family vacations with a purpose, all kinds of things in their family bank, okay? That's money that would otherwise have gone down the drain in unnecessary tax. And we have more than doubled their net spendable retirement income by doing a strategic rollout. They are extremely grateful that they were able to redirect 1.2 million of otherwise payable tax. Well, the second story I want to share with you is a couple in California. And when I showed them how they ought to have at least 40, maybe up to 60% of their retirement income not even show up on the front page of their 1040 tax return, they said, well, Doug, why only 40 or even 60%? We're sick and tired of paying taxes. We want 100%. And I go, okay. And so we did that. And in a 5-year period, we were able to transfer money out of their IRAs and 401ks. They had about $6 million in their IRAs and 401ks. Okay. And they had lived in the Bay Area and they had a ton of money. Yeah, they ended up paying about $2.4 million in taxes over 5 years. But they were going to pay that much or more by stringing it out. And they realized they understood the concept. Just bite the bullet, pay the tax. And we ended up with a net, because we were able to keep the money growing. We ended up with a net of $4 million out of that $6 million after paying tax of $2.4 million, because it grew by $400,000 and so forth. So here's the result. They got their taxes over and done with. Yeah, it hurt a little bit temporarily, $2.4 million, but they ended up with $4 million after tax. That has doubled to $8 million now in the last 7.5 years in their portfolio of indexed universal life insurance policies, what I call laser funds. Now they have $8 million in their laser funds, actually a little bit more than that. And they have been earning conservatively between 8% to 10% and even greater. I'm just going to stay simple here and keep it, let's say it 8 to 10%. What's 8% on 8 million? What's 10%? 800,000. They could withdraw between 600,000 to 800,000 a year of tax-free income. The IRS will know they're receiving it, but it's tax-free. It's been a sacred tax-free cash cow in the Internal Revenue Code for over 108 years. The IRS knows everything. But the funny thing is, they know they can withdraw 600 to 800,000 a year of tax-free income, and they go, Doug, we don't need that much money. If it's tax-free, we don't need to withdraw 600,000 to net 400,000 or 500,000 to net 300,000 after tax. We only need 300,000 to buy gas, groceries, prescriptions, and golf green fees. So they only pull out 300,000 tax-free, and the remaining 500,000 they're earning on their IUL policies is just adding. So their 8 million is growing by $500,000 a year. It's growing way faster than they're taking money out. So they're hedging against inflation in the process. They said, Doug, this is incredible. We don't even have to technically file a 1040 tax return. Yeah, we took this couple from the highest tax bracket in 5 years down to a 0% tax bracket. We have done this for many, many people. So if you want to learn how to save a ton of unnecessary tax and get 40%, 60%, maybe 100% of your retirement income to be totally tax-free, not even show up on the front page of your 1040 tax return, you need to learn sooner than later. Here's how. I want to gift you a copy of this 300-page book. It's been flying off of our warehouse shelves. You do not have to pay $20 retail for it on Amazon. I will gift you a free copy. Here's how you claim it. You simply go to laserfund.com, LASERfund.com, or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll fire out a hard copy to you. It's actually 2 books in one. This side is about 200 pages, 14 chapters with all the charts and graphs if you're a left brain learner. If you're a right brain learner, you learn by stories. You can flip it over and read this one. About 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories like the ones I just told you. If you want to use your whole brain, right brain and left brain, okay, you can read both sides. But here is the key to your brighter future. And while you're in there claiming your free copy, there's options there to listen and learn, watch and learn with audio and video education. There's even regular online webinars that we conduct, and you can even schedule a time to talk with an IUL specialist to see how this strategy can help you in your particular set of circumstances so that you can create your own story on how you saved hundreds of thousands of dollars of unnecessary tax and generated tax-free income that will last as long as you do.